Disability Express Group is here to talk to you guys. So a couple of rules before we start. We need to be respectful, we need to be quiet, and we need to pay attention, please. Okay? I think we're going to save the questions to the end, okay? So think about your questions and mark them in your brain. Okay? All right. And I'm going to turn this over to Brian.
Good evening. Good evening, Scouts. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for allowing us to. Good evening, Scouts.
Did it work?
Can you go up a little bit higher with it?
I'm just pushing buttons. They're going to kill me.
All
All right, now try it.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you for allowing us to be here with you today. My name is Brian Nobles. I am the founder and director of the Disability Express Group. I have with me today some of my associates from the group members.
My name is Emily.
My name is Cassie.
My name is Olivia, and this is my emotional support animal, Herbie.
Oh, I wasn't. The Disability Express Group is a social and recreational group of teens and adults with disabilities. And social and recreational meaning we have fun. Many of us, as a result of our disabilities, have faced bullying over the years, and we are here today to share with you some of our experiences on this topic. I would like to thank Mrs. Christina Olson for allowing us to helping us make this event happen. Before we begin, though, I'd like to discuss another component to this event. The annual fundraiser, which takes place at a martial arts studio in Eldersburg on a date not yet determined. It is called United Hapkido. It is run by a very good karate instructor. All may participate, disability or not, as long as they have sponsors. Now, without further ado, let us tell you our stories.
First question, what is your disability? And tell us what it was like living with your disability and when you were young. And do you use any assistive devices, and what are they for?
Hi again. I have an emotional disability, so this causes me to have trouble regulating my emotions. For example, one second I'm okay, and the next I'm very anxious. I wasn't born with my disability. Some disabilities you're born with. My disability was caused by bullying that I experienced when I was a little bit older than you guys in middle school. My assistive device is right here. His name's Herbie. He's my emotional support animal. He helps calm me down, and he's trained to provide stimulation by licking my hand when I'm upset, and deep pressure therapy by sitting on my lap, or he does a hug. So he kind of comes up on me and tucks his little head in. So those are my assistive devices. I also, in school, have some supports, longer test time, just like rooms with less distraction and stuff like that. So I don't know if any of you guys get any of that, but it really helps.
My disability is Asperger's. I'm only 12, almost 13. It was difficult to make friends and be independent. I do not have any assistive devices.
My disability are autism spectrum disorder, which affects how I interact with other people. I have a difficult time starting and maintaining friendships and understanding nonverbal communication. I have sensory processing disorder, which makes it difficult to process and to act on the information I receive through my senses. Loudness for long periods of time will hurt my ears and sometimes give me a headache. I used to cry when there was a thunderstorm outside when I was younger. And I used to hate having my teeth brushed and my hair blow dry. I have a attention deficit disorder, which makes it difficult to sit and concentrate for a long period of time. And I'm deaf in my radio, which makes it difficult to hear others and locate where different sounds are coming from. The assistive devices I use, I have a recording pen that I started using in high school, and it helps me. It records what the teacher is saying and lets me take my own notes as well. I use an inspiration app which allows me to organize my thoughts and ideas before writing a paper. And I also use dictation, which allows me to talk into a device so it writes for me.
My disability is autism, which, as you may have heard previously, affects my ability to create and maintain relationships and have a social life. I also have anxiety, which means I tend to be worried about or worry too much about future events. Assistive devices, I can show you one right now, especially, which is good for people with autism. Earbuds. I sometimes am affected by loud noises. Having earbuds can be a lifesaver.
What are some of your hobbies?
I like to color, do puzzles, go for walks, listen to music, and watch TV. Basically, I do a lot of what an average, everyday kid would do, or teenager, or adult.
Some of my hobbies are collecting penguins. I get stuff with watermelons on them. And I love to do arts and crafts.
My hobbies are coloring, listening to music, taking pictures, and recording videos.
My hobbies are walking. I love to pace back and forth in my basement. I love to exercise. I listen to music, and I like to paint.
Is it better for someone to ask you a question about your disability or ignore it? And if the answer is to ask, how should this be done so you don't accidentally hurt someone's feelings?
So it is better for someone to ask a question about my disability. I would love people to ask about my disability and what I've been through. It means you're interested and you care to learn more. We need to educate others about disabilities of all kinds so that we can be included in everything. So you could ask me how you can help me if I'm struggling with something. For example, if I'm pacing back and forth nervously or crying, you could come up and talk to me. Basically, treat me like a normal person. Don't point and don't stare.
I would rather have people ask me about my disability. I'm comfortable with who I am. So if you're not mean, you won't hurt my feelings.
I think it's better for someone to ask a question about my disability than to ignore it. If you don't ask a question or questions, you can make an assumption about that person that may not be true. And I don't think there is no really wrong way to ask a question about my disabilities.
It is absolutely okay for anyone to ask about my disability. In fact, I will probably tell you firsthand that I have it. On a side note, you guys plan on getting a job as you get older, or think about what you want to be when you grow up. People are going to ask, it will be good for people in their future to know whether or not you have a disability in the future.
I just wanted to add also, obviously Herbie here, if you see someone with a service dog or an emotional support animal, you should never ask to pet them. So basically, if you see a dog wearing a vest, you should not pet that dog. These animals are trained to respond to the owner only, and the dog can miss something if you're distracting it or trying to pet it. So you could ask, how did your dog help you? Some people with disabilities may not want to answer or simply can't answer, and that doesn't make them unfriendly. It makes them maybe not feel as comfortable as us talking about our disabilities, because some people aren't as comfortable as we are.
Next question. What is bullying? Were you ever bullied when you were in school because of your disability, and how did that make you feel?
So bullying can be a couple of different things. Bullying can be verbal, cyber, or physical. Verbal is saying something mean to someone. Cyber is saying mean things to someone online or through a phone. And physical means putting your hands on someone, for example, hitting or kicking someone. Bullying never makes anyone feel good. Something you say today to a person can change their lives forever. I'm 22. I was bullied in school 10 years ago, and the things that people said and did to me still haunt me today. My disability was caused by bullying. They made me feel awful. I felt like giving up. They made fun of the way I looked and that I was a good student in school. They called me a nerd and fat. So please, be kind, caring, compassionate, and don't judge others for their differences, because we all have the same heart on the inside.
Bullying is when someone else is picking on you because you are different. I have been bullied, and I felt like I wasn't good enough to get to know, and I wasn't accepted.
I define bullying as anything that is done with the intention of hurting someone else. It could be a joke you make, a name you call someone, or pushing someone around who doesn't want that. I was bullied, but it's hard to say whether it was because of my disability or not, because I don't remember enough to know. And it made me feel sad and lonely.
Bullying is calling someone a name without any consideration for their feelings. Bullying is pushing someone down the steps and throwing rocks at them. Stuff like that. I was bullied to an extent when I was in school, although most of my bullying took place in the form of people were making fun of me, but at the time I couldn't understand it. And that made me, in the end, when I realized what was going on, it made me feel pretty awful.
When you were in school, was there anything other students could do that would make things easier for you?
In today's world, students who are different or have disabilities are often excluded from things. It could be something as simple as saying hi to someone with a disability that makes them feel more welcome in your social group, including them at your lunch table, or talking to them during recess, not staring, not pointing, or making rude comments to other people who look different or have disabilities. Do not be afraid of us. People with disabilities, we often feel isolated because we feel and we are told that we are different. In general, a good rule is treat people as you would like to be treated.
I just wanted to be accepted for being me, including people with a disability in whatever you were doing. For example, games, conversations, or just sitting with them at lunch. I had a friend in 5th grade when I was diagnosed, and she would cheer me up when she saw I was sad.
When I was in school, students could have helped me by not being afraid to talk to me, not laughing at me when I did something odd or weird, and inviting me to hang out.
Really, what all students or all kids could have done and should do always to help people with disabilities, including myself, is just be respectful. Respect is not something that has to be earned. It's not, should be used as a incentive. It should be a given. Respect is a given, no matter who you are, who the other person is, what anyone does. Respect should always be given.
Finish this statement. One thing I wish people knew about me is.
statement. One thing I wish people knew about me is I am just like you. I may have a disability, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm still human. I'm still a person and deserve to be treated with that word respect that Brian is talking about, and compassion, just as you would treat someone without a disability.
One thing I wish people knew about me is I am not stupid or dumb. I'm actually very smart. Some things that are hard for me to understand are sarcasm and jokes. I try hard really to fit in, but because I am different, it makes it hard to fit in.
I wish people knew that just because I look normal and lead a quote-unquote normal life, I do have multiple disabilities and my struggles are just as difficult as everybody else.
One thing I wish people knew about me was, I'm gonna add on to what the others have said. I have a disability, yes. Am I ashamed of it? No. I am proud of who I am, and you all should feel the same about yourselves. You all should be proud of who you are.
This is what you have to tolerate me for a minute. Just to give you an idea of how everybody has something to contribute, these young people had a car wash, and all the members were invited. And there's one member that's in a wheelchair, and she's got a physical disability. And I knew she wouldn't be able to wash cars. And I was stressing that day, thinking, what are we going to get her to do? Because she's coming, and I don't want her to feel left out. How are we going to get her to wash cars? Sorry, okay, better? Thank you. How are we going to get her to wash cars? Well, she arrived, and the members of this group were so glad to see her. They welcomed her. They said, we're so glad you're here because you get to be the sign holder and direct all the cars into the car wash. Everybody has something to contribute. If she hadn't been there, there would have been nobody to stand there and direct the cars into the car wash. So that's one thing I want you to think about. Everyone has something to contribute. Okay, now you're done with me. Finish this statement. Something I wish people would stop doing is,
I wish people today would stop bullying others. One small thing you say today could make a difference in their lives forever. Like I said, I'm 22 now. Things that people said and did to me when I was 12, 10 years ago, still affect me every single day. So please, be kind, caring, compassionate. Don't judge others who are different, because we all have the same heart on the inside. And another thing I'd like to add is keep persevering and never, never, never give up.
Something I wish people would stop doing is assuming that just because I don't understand jokes or sarcasm, thinking I don't like to have fun. Stop thinking I don't have feelings. Don't think just because I look normal that I should fit in a perfect mold. I am just like you. My way of thinking and handling things are just a little different than what you guys do.
I wish people would stop doing and stereotyping people with disabilities. I don't fit the box of a person with a disability because I can drive, I have a job, and I have a high school diploma.
One thing I wish people would stop doing is judging. Sure, we all, in our heads, make small assumptions about people here and there, but then there are those who take it to the next level. They automatically declare that, oh, that person's dumb, or oh, that person's stupid. No, that's not right. To be a judge can sometimes, it can hurt the other person.
okay, so now you all have listened to us. Now it's your turn to ask the questions. Anybody have any questions? Here,
how did you come up with the group?
Oh, Lordy So, I started looking for a group like this before this group was even created. I looked a lot of places. I looked online, I looked out in the community. I had cats who worked with me, and we were trying to find different social places for people with disabilities to get together. There was nothing like it in Carroll County. So, one day I was at my I go to a pottery studio in Eldersburg, in Sykesville rather. It's called, well, it's not just called Sykesville Pottery and Art. And teacher, my mom took me, and the teacher there, along with my mom, basically told me, if you can't join one, make one. So, I credit both of them with that. And it just blew up from there.
You've had your hand up the whole time. Yep. It's okay. It's okay. How about we come back to you in a little bit?
Okay.
Okay. We'll do you and then you.
Where did you find all these groups?
I found all the people. Basically, I put the group out. The group started on Facebook. It's a website, and people found the group on Facebook and contacted me through Facebook and email, of course, and they came to me through that. That's where I found all the people who joined the group.
I told you you'd be next, okay?
When you were in high school, did you still have that dog with you?
So actually, when I was in middle school and high school, I did not have a dog with me, and it was very, very, very hard. I missed most of my high school, just not being able to attend because I was so anxious. And then I just couldn't function in a classroom. So my bullying happened in middle school, so things like backpacks and fire alarms and stuff like that really scared me. And just sitting in front of the teacher and having to sit still, that was so hard for me. So I decided when I was trying to go to college, I went to college for the first year and didn't do very well because I didn't have anybody, I was so anxious again. So then when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school. This is why I say never, never, never give up, because I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I finally completed my first semester. I'm very proud of that. And Kirby, I just got accepted to the University of Baltimore for psychology, and Kirby will be coming with me. So he started out as my pet. I rescued him from a shelter. He had really bad anxiety. I rescued him, he rescues me kind of thing. And we work through it together. So obviously he doesn't have as much anxiety anymore, but when we first got in here, he was kind of all over the place. But he's learning, and he will be in training to be a full service dog soon. So basically what that means is he gets to practice riding on trains and airplanes and stuff like that, going in school.
Count me in.
How do your disabilities affect your life?
You want to start? And then you can
My disability affects my ability to pick up social cues. For example, when I don't know if any of you know what idioms are. Example of an idiom.
Raining cats and dogs.
Raining cats and dogs.
There you go.
It's raining cats and dogs means it's raining really hard. Someone with not my exact disability, but my type of disability might take that literally.
And think that it's actually raining cats and dogs.
Dogs, yeah, cats and dogs are
Yep.
running down outside.
Yes, and another thing that might happen with someone with my type of disability is they might say the wrong thing to the wrong person. For example, I knew someone who would go up to smokers and read the Surgeon General's warning on the label, the entire label. So moving along.
For me, it affects like how I make friends and how I talk to people and when I public speak too.
My disability affects my life by making it harder to find friends and not get bullied.
So my disability mainly affects my life in a school situation. Like I said before, it's very hard for me to go to school and sit through school. It's also very hard for me to be in front of a crowd and do talks. That's why Herbie's here. I probably wouldn't be able to do stuff like this without him. The first year I tried it, and it didn't go as great as I would have liked it to. Entering middle school, so a lot of what we do these talks at middle schools in 6th and 7th and 8th grade. Mainly 6th grade. So I couldn't walk into a middle school. That's how terrified I was of going to school. So imagine you guys just not even being able to walk in the front door of your school. That's pretty hard, right? So, or imagine you guys seeing someone with a backpack. And it looks like a normal backpack to you, but to me, it reminds me of something that happened to me. Or, you know, when you're in school and the fire alarm goes off, everybody calmly exits. Why? It's something happened to me involving a fire alarm and bullying. And so it's very hard for me when a fire alarm goes off. So being in a firehouse is very interesting today, but I'm working through it, so.